Hello and welcome. I know there's been a lack of Marvel content on this channel, but don't worry, I am still a very dedicated fangirl of the MCU. I have been keeping up with all the shows. I just finished Daredevil Born Again, and obviously was so excited for the Thunderbolts. But since it's been a while since I've actually talked about Marvel, and we're gearing up for a new phase, this was the end of phase 5 apparently, and we're heading into phase 6. And don't worry, I am so ecstatic for Doomsday.
I haven't talked about how psyched I am for basically every single Marvel character coming back, but that's a different discussion for another day.
So let's talk about Thunderbolts. This goes without saying that this team was so unique and fun and creative. We know that this is sort of the counterculture to DC's Suicide Squad. I'll admit that I'm a fan of Suicide Squad, only for Harley Quinn. And I will admit that compared to the two reboots, because we had the original one with Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn, and then we had the remake with James Gunn, and I love James Gunn, but it's so crazy that he's now on the DC side compared to Marvel, because we love Guardians of the Galaxy over here, and Scooby-Doo, because James Gunn did Scooby-Doo back in the day. Fantastic. But now he's just taken over DC, understandably, because like, they screwed him over at the end of Marvel, unfortunately. But we're not talking about that, we're talking about Thunderbolts.
Or, as it's been plastered all over social media by this point, the new Avengers. And that's not even a true spoiler. If you haven't seen this film yet, think of this review as a very light spoilers one. I'm not going to go into the major plot points or twist, but I'll talk about the overall vibe as well as a light plot synopsis.
If anyone has seen this movie, I have a couple questions for you guys. Did you expect to go into this movie thinking that you're going to see a fun, kick-butt action anti-hero film where it was going to be similar to Suicide Squad, where that one is just like kind of more a heist action beat 'em up, but instead got super attacked? Because I did.
Yeah, so remember when I reviewed Inside Out 2 last year? And I talked about how attacked I was watching that film? Yeah, that happened with this film too, and we'll discuss it further in a moment.
This time we do have some returning cast of our favorites, as well as some newer characters.
The one thing I love about this cast is that all the quote-unquote reject characters get their time to shine in the spotlight. These aren't your classic Avengers made for greatness from the beginning. Instead, they have a lot of trauma and a dark grittiness to them. Plus, honestly, a kill count that combined might overtake Loki's past. Returning as Yelena is Florence Pugh.
I love Yelena. Yelena is amazing as a character, and I relate to the motions that she was going through. She's lost, she doesn't know what her purpose is, she's just going through the motions of day to day, and is depressed. And I've been there.
Yelena isn't the only one depressed either. Most of the team deals with a lot of those negative emotions. Sebastian Stan returns as our wonderful Bucky, who is probably the most positive member of the quote-unquote Thunderbolts. David Harper, who I also love as Hopper from Stranger Things, is back as Alexei, aka the Red Guardian. My mother's favorite actor's son, Wyatt Russell, is back as John Walker, aka knockoff Captain America. Hannah John Carmen is back as
Ava, who is Ghost. I feel like she definitely had the least amount of screen time and story arc, but we'll see what happens in the future with her.
And Julia Louis-Dreyfus is our comparable villain of the film as Valentina Allegra de Fronte. We've known her as a villain for a couple of previous films now, so it's nice to see her progression. Our brand new characters are Lewis Pullman, another Nepo baby son of actor Bill Pullman, who plays Robert Reynolds, aka...
I'm Bob.
Bob. Guys, Bob.
I just realized that his dad was the hot father in Casper, and he looks just like him. Yeah, no wonder why I like him.
Adorable. I love him. New favorite character. He's up there with Loki and Kylo Ren, for sure. Definitely. Do you think Loki and Bob are going to interact in the future in Doomsday? I'm so excited for Doomsday. I'm so excited for Doomsday, and it's not even made yet.
Our other new addition is Valentina's assistant, Mel, played by Geraldine Viswanathan. She was also a fun addition to the cast, getting a lot of screen time and fun banter with Bucky. So I'm also excited to see how her character progresses forward in the future.
Unlike Suicide Squad, where the only standout character to me was Harley Quinn, and I am a diehard Harley Quinn fan now. I've cosplayed as her multiple times. and she's just a standout character in that DC universe. Thunderbolts is completely different. There were so many good characters in this, and a lot of these characters are our favorites. I know I say this all the time, it's really true. I love how everything is so connected within this universe, and I love being a part of this community, and I love being a part of this whole experience of seeing what's next, how everything is interwebbed and interconnected so tightly. I just love seeing how they all evolve and how the character development happens. And I will say that the character development is hit or miss, because it literally is focused on Yelena and Bob, and then I would say Red Guardian because of his association to Yelena, and then Bucky, because Bucky and Red Guardian had some really great scenes together, and there were so many times that I was laughing out loud. And I love that about Marvel so much, and I've probably said this in the past so much. I love how real it is, and I love how deeply rooted we get to know these characters. And that's the one thing I'll say as a general statement that I probably have said in the past as well. The reason I love Marvel so much more than DC, although DC is getting better at it too, is Marvel puts their heroes as people first. And Marvel is fantastic about showing the flaws and showing how scarred these people are and how tough it is to be them sometimes, and all the sacrifices they have to go through to become these heroes. And no one's perfect, especially this group of people. They are bad people. They're not bad people. They've done really bad things. And some of them just fell into it and they're trying to change. Others, like Walker, he doesn't want to change yet, but I'm excited to see what will happen with this character.
Reading from the official description, after finding themselves ensnared in a death trap, an unconventional team of anti-heroes must embark on a dangerous mission that'll force them to confront the darkest corners of their past. So yeah, if you're a superhero fan like me, this is why it's so easy to compare it to Suicide Squad, but it is so much more than that. Saying they confront their darkest corners of their past, that's not a lie. It gets dark, and we need that. There's an entity that is a part of the film later on called the Void that pushes everyone to relieve the worst and dark moments of their lives. And I won't go into detail with what happens and how it happens, but this was definitely one of the highlights of the film for me, and I would love to see them expand more upon this in the future.
The whole movie, I just was like, wow, this is my life. This would be my life in terms of emotional attacking. It's definitely one of the important stories that they've told. Especially because I was so attacked in my seat the entire time. Because I know that if I was taken into the void, like so many people, and had to face all the worst moments of my life, I would go insane. I would literally go insane. And it just shows how important mental health is. I know this is something that I don't really talk about with this channel because you don't really put mental health and Disney together. Maybe now, because again, it's really, if you took Inside Out and pushed it into the Marvel universe, this is what you get as a film. They are so related to each other in different areas, and it's obviously a much more mature taking of it, but it's all about mental health and taking care of yourself and making sure that you don't get destroyed by your mind, because it's so easy to get destroyed by your mind sometimes. In my opinion, this is the most grounded Marvel film, which is crazy to think about, because one of the many things I love about Marvel is how they play into the fantasy in the most realistic ways, and everything is rooted in our world, but just an alternative reality of it. But this is the one film that you get to really relate to the characters the most. Even though they have these superpowers, even though there are these gods here and there, and they're dealing with different types of issues, the issues that they're dealing with are issues that we all go through every day. genuinely, especially with this day and age. So if you're not feeling great and you want to escape, don't watch this film. But then also watch this film because it's so important and I love the way it ended.
There's more points I would love to make, but it's hard to talk about without going into full spoiler territory. I will say I love how everything came together in the most natural ways. Points and directions that were made in the beginning of the film and lines that you didn't think were important all came back around in several full circle moments. There were multiple times when there was an oh moment or a complete clever shock with the way the story flowed.
I'm excited to see how things are going to continue to play out, like I said before, as we go into phase 6. I haven't left my Marvel, I just haven't talked about it as much, and so I definitely want to return to a lot more Marvel content sprinkled in throughout the year, not just dedicated to a whole month, even though I love dedicating a whole month to it in the past like I've done. This is a fandom that is so important to me and has never stopped being important. I just have been a lot more quiet about it, so that's going to change. And as always, with any review, I'd love to hear what your thoughts are, especially if you have seen the film. But until then, as always, I hope you have a magical day, and I will see you real soon.